Rumpelstiltskin. Once upon a time, there was a poor miller who lived in a small village. He had a beautiful daughter, but he was always bragging about her, telling everyone that she was the most clever and talented girl in the world. One day, the miller went to the king's palace and told the king that his daughter could spin straw into gold. The king was curious and asked the miller to bring his daughter to the palace to test her claim. The next day, the miller's daughter was brought to a room filled with straw and given a spinning wheel. She had no idea how to spin straw into gold and was very afraid. Suddenly, a strange little man appeared and offered to spin the straw into gold for her in exchange for something precious. The miller's daughter agreed, and the little man spun the straw into gold. The next day, the king was amazed, and asked the miller's daughter to spin even more straw into gold. The little man appeared again and spun the straw into gold for her, but this time he asked for something even more valuable. On the third day, the king asked the miller's daughter to spin even more straw into gold. The little man appeared again, and this time he asked for the miller's daughter's firstborn child in exchange for his help. The miller's daughter was very upset and didn't want to give up her future child, but she had no choice. The little man spun the straw into gold and disappeared. Years went by and the miller's daughter had a baby boy. The little man appeared again and demanded the baby as payment. The miller's daughter cried and begged, but the little man refused to let her keep the baby unless she could guess his name. The miller's daughter asked everyone she knew for the little man's name, but no one could tell her. Finally, she remembered the little man singing a song and saying his name was Rumpelstiltskin. She said the name out loud, and the little man was so angry that he stamped his foot and disappeared forever. The miller's daughter was able to keep her baby and live happily ever after, having learned a valuable lesson about the dangers of making promises without fully understanding the consequences. The moral of the story of Rumpelstiltskin is to be careful about the promises that we make and to think carefully about the consequences of our actions. The miller's daughter's father made a boastful claim that he couldn't back up, and as a result, his daughter was forced to make a promise that had serious consequences. The story teaches us that we must take responsibility for our actions and be careful not to make promises that we can't keep or that could have negative consequences. Additionally, the story emphasizes the importance of honesty and the dangers of greed. We hope that you enjoyed listening to us, and we'll see you again in the next chapter.